Hello, dear friends, souls seeking tranquility in the stillness of the night. Welcome to my channel, a place where gentle stories are told to lull you into peaceful dreams. I understand that some nights, sleep seems to elude us as our minds wander through endless thoughts, making it hard to close our eyes. Don't worry, for I am here to accompany you, bringing mysterious yet soothing stories to help you relax and drift into sleep with ease. In episode 5 of our sleep story journey, we will step into the wondrous world of the Jurassic, the age of giant reptiles. You will explore the astonishing diversity of early Jurassic dinosaurs, from agile predators like Dilophosaurus to massive herbivores like Unwind. We will uncover how the supercontinent Pangaea began to split, the lush tropical forests, and the mysteries of convergent evolution that gave rise to creatures both strange and familiar. So, relax your mind, let the sound of dinosaur footsteps and the breath of prehistoric times guide you into a mystical dream, where the earth whispers tales from millions of years ago. Wishing you a serene journey, sinking into the story of the night. The Jurassic, often called the Age of Reptiles, is one of the most fascinating periods in Earth's history. After watching the famous movie Jurassic Park, one might think the Earth back then was filled only with dinosaurs like Tyrannosaurus. However, the reality was far more complex. The Jurassic, the second period of the Mesozoic era, was long and intricate, beginning around 201.3 million years ago and lasting approximately 56 million years. The name Jurassic comes from the Jura Mountains in Switzerland and France, where the first fossils were discovered and studied. The Jurassic is divided into 3 stages, with the first, known as the Early Jurassic, beginning 201.3 million years ago. During this time, life was recovering from the Triassic-Jurassic extinction event, which wiped out about half of the animal species on Earth. Thanks to the warm and humid climate of the Jurassic, life quickly rebounded. Oceans and warm seas teemed with ammonites, belemnites, fish, and reptiles. On land, reptiles, including dinosaurs, rapidly filled the ecological niches left vacant by the earlier extinction. Imagine the vast, shimmering seas of the early Jurassic, where the water was alive with movement. Schools of fish darted to the warm currents, their scales catching the faint sunlight that filtered through the waves. Among them swam creatures that were neither fish nor fully reptile, like the Brachiosaurus, with its long, graceful neck and paddle-like limbs. These marine reptiles glided effortlessly, their sleek bodies cutting through the water as they hunted for smaller prey. Picture the gentle ripples on the surface, disturbed only by the occasional splash of a diving ichthyosaurus or the fleeting shadow of a pterosaur skimming overhead. These seas were a cradle of life, a serene yet vibrant world that whispered secrets of survival and adaptation. Let the rhythm of those ancient waves carry your thoughts to a place of calm as you drift closer to sleep. Through the course of evolution, some reptiles developed wings and took to the skies, marking the golden age of reptiles. Hundreds of dinosaur species appear across the planet, inhabiting every continent, including Antarctica. Some grew to astonishing sizes, while others evolved into bizarre and fearsome forms. The prehistoric reptiles that lived around 200 million years ago remain a great mystery to humanity. Dinosaurs of the early Jurassic are among the most captivating aspects of Earth's distant past. During this period, the supercontinent Pangaea began to break apart into separate continental blocks. Shallow seas gradually filled the gaps, and the continents started to take shapes resembling those we know today. Deep bays began to separate Africa and Australia, while the distance between Africa and the Americas widened. In Eurasia, lowlands formed in areas like Germany, England, Paris, Spain, and Siberia. The Arctic Ocean also flooded the northern coast of Laurasia. In North America, the Rocky Mountains and the Andes began to take shape. The tectonic breakup was accompanied by intense volcanic activity, releasing vast amounts of CO2 into the atmosphere, intensifying the greenhouse effect. The climate during the Jurassic was 9 to 18 degrees Fahrenheit warmer than today, with CO2 levels 4 times higher than current levels. Rainfall during this period was also more frequent and intense compared to the late Triassic. On land, the climate was tropical and subtropical, with vast areas covered by lush vegetation, primarily dense forests and large trees. The dominant plants were ferns, seed plants, and non-flowering woody trees. Unlike animals, plants were fortunate, as there is no clear evidence of mass extinction during the transition from the Triassic to the Jurassic. Thanks to high temperatures and humidity, forest trees grew tall and robust. Cycads were common in tropical and subtropical regions, reaching their peak diversity in the early Jurassic. Cycads closely resembled palms, so much so that the famous botanist Carl Linnaeus once mistakenly classified them as such. Additionally, ginkgo trees thrive in temperate climates, with fan-shaped leaves distinct from other plants. However, only one ginkgo species survives today, Ginkgo biloba. Alongside cycads and ginkgos, prehistoric conifers also flourished, resembling modern pines, firs, and cedars. During the late Triassic and early Jurassic, these conifers rapidly evolved and became more diverse. In East Asia, podozomites, an extinct conifer species, dominated with broad, seasonally shedding leaves, unlike most modern conifers. Picture yourself standing at the edge of one of these ancient forests, where the air is thick with the scent of damp earth and resinous conifers. The canopy above sways gently in the warm breeze, casting dappled shadows on the forest floor. Ferns as tall as a person unfurl their fronds like delicate green fans, while the distant calls of small dinosaurs echo softly through the trees. These forests were not silent. They hummed with life, rustling leaves, the buzz of insects, and the occasional low bellow of a herbivore grazing nearby. As you listen, let the sounds of this vibrant, ancient world wrap around you, soothing your mind like a lullaby from past. The abundant vegetation created ideal conditions for an explosion of animal life, particularly insects. There is no evidence of insect extinction during the transition from the Triassic to the Jurassic. The forests, grasslands, and riverbanks of the Jurassic buzz with insects. Imagine dragonflies hunting over water, plant-eating beetles gathering in thickets, or spiders and scorpions ambushing their prey. During this time, the first butterflies appeared, though they were not as vibrant as those today. There were also creatures that looked like modern butterflies, but were not true butterflies. This was a result of convergent evolution, where unrelated species evolved similar traits to adapt to similar environments. These creatures flitting through Jurassic forests looked like butterflies, flew like butterflies, and even pollinated plants like butterflies. But they belonged to an entirely different group, most closely related to modern lacewings. At that time, flowers were scarce, with only small blooms not yet adapted to insects. However, gymnosperms like conifers, with nectar-filled cones, attracted these pseudo-butterflies of the Jurassic. Convergent evolution is a phenomenon where distantly related species evolve to resemble each other to adapt to similar conditions. A classic example is the tenrec of Madagascar. From a common ancestor, tenrecs evolved into forms resembling shrews, hedgehogs, or otters. If you place a tenrec next to a hedgehog, it would be hard to spot 10 differences. Yet tenrecs are more closely related to elephants than hedgehogs. Similarly, the pseudo-butterflies of the Jurassic had broad, scaly wings and camouflage identical to true butterflies, but they were an entirely different species. These examples show that evolution often finds the shortest and most efficient path. This also means that if we ever discover a distant planet with Earth-like conditions, we might encounter creatures that seem strangely familiar. During this period, amphibians gradually gave way to reptiles. Many amphibian species went extinct, leaving only primitive salamanders, frogs, and legless, worm-like Sicilian. Among the larger amphibians, a few Pterosaurs remained, typically growing to 9.8 feet in length. A fossil found in Lesotho, Africa, was estimated to be about 23 feet long. Throughout history, Pterosaurus was the only giant amphibian, but it appeared and went extinct in the Permian. Pterosaurus had a flattened body, a paddle-shaped head, and a mouth with sharp teeth, allowing it to tear apart prey instantly. Despite thriving in the early Jurassic, their numbers gradually declined as reptiles rose to dominance. As the sun sets over the Jurassic landscape, imagine the twilight, casting a golden glow over the rivers and wetlands where Pterosaurus hunted. These creatures, with their sleek, powerful bodies, moved silently through the shallows, their eyes glinting in the fading light. The water's surface ripples gently as they slip beneath, leaving only bubbles behind. This serene scene, where the last of the giant amphibians thrived, invites you to let go of the day's worries. Let the quiet of this ancient world wash over you, guiding you deeper into a restful state. Before dinosaurs became a distinct group, reptile diversity surged in both number and variety, dominating land, sea, and air. True monsters inhabited the warm tropical seas of the Jurassic, fearsome yet wondrous in their own way. After surviving the late Triassic mass extinction, they gradually recovered and thrived. One of the most remarkable species was Ichthyosaurus, fish lizard, with various species averaging 6.6 to 13.1 feet in length. However, favorable conditions allowed some to grow to enormous sizes. The largest known was Shanosaurus, reaching 49.2 feet, and the undisputed champion was Shastasaurus, stretching up to 68.9 feet. Some Ichthyosaurus species have bizarre appearances, with shark-like bodies but heads resembling Indian crocodiles with long, narrow snouts, a quirky joke of nature akin to the modern platypus. A notable feature of Ichthyosaurus was its large eyes, protected by a bony ring, enabling it to hunt at night and dive to great depths. With eyes up to 9.8 inches in diameter, this species could see at depths of 5,249.3 feet, while humans see only darkness at 1,968.5 feet. Paleontologists note that at depths of 2,624.7 to 3,116.8 feet, light intensity is just 1% of midday sunlight on the ocean surface. While reptiles dominated land and sea, pterosaurs, flying lizards, appeared in the Triassic and became widespread in the early Jurassic. Though some species went extinct, the Rhamphorhynchus family, long-tail flying lizards, continue to thrive, primarily feeding on fish and small animals. Terrestrial reptiles in the Jurassic grew more diverse than ever. Prehistoric turtles were similar to modern ones, but dinosaurs undeniably ruled the land. High above the Jurassic plains, the pterosaurs soared, their leathery wings catching the warm updrafts as they glided over rivers and forests. Picture Rhamphorhynchus with its long, slender tail trailing behind, its sharp beak dipping to snatch a fish from the water below. These creatures were masters of the sky, their silhouettes dancing against the sunset. As you imagine their graceful flight, let your mind lift with them, floating gently into a dreamlike state where the cares of the world fade away. Paleontologists have identified over 900 genera and more than 1,000 non-avian dinosaur species. In the early Jurassic, dinosaurs quickly filled empty ecological niches post-extinction. A common misconception is that all dinosaurs were massive, but they came in all sizes. Some were as small as chickens, while others grew into colossal beasts. Most were carnivorous, hunting to survive, while some herbivorous species lumbered slowly, trampling the ground and grazing on vegetation. From about 182.7 to 174.1 million years ago, a unique herbivorous dinosaur lived in what is now Zimbabwe, Volcanodon. This species had the typical sauropodous structure, with sturdy pillar-like legs, a long neck, and a long tail. It was one of the first dinosaurs discovered in Zimbabwe. Its Latin name, Volcanodon, meaning teeth of the volcano, comes from its fossils being found in a sandstone layer between two ancient lava flows. When Volcanodon lived, the pebbly Arcos Formation was a hot, sandy desert, not the most hospitable environment for life. Yet, there are oases of vegetation, some rivers, and rare water sources. Volcanodon was about 21.3 feet long, 8.2 feet tall, and weighed 2.8 tons. Some researchers suggest it could have reached 36.1 feet and weighed up to 3.9 tons. Though herbivorous, Volcanodon was prey for contemporaneous predatory reptiles. Evidence of predation appeared with the first fossil discovery. South African paleontologist Michael Roth found a tooth near the pelvis of Volcanodon, but its skull and neck were missing. The tooth's shape resembled that of a predator, suggesting the Volcanodon may have writhed in agony when killed, causing its head to fall near its pelvis. This phenomenon is occasionally seen in other dinosaur fossils. The unusual teeth led to this herbivorous dinosaur being named after the teeth of its killer. While Africa had Volcanodon, North America was dominated by the predatory Dilophosaurus. This species lived around 199 to 193 million years ago in Arizona, USA. A formidable hunter with high speed and agility, it targeted smaller herbivorous dinosaurs. The name Dilophosaurus, from Greek, means two-crested lizard, referring to the two flat bone crests on its skull. Scientists believe these crests were decorative, possibly crucial for attracting mates, similar to the crests of modern iguanas, roosters, or agamid lizards. Dilophosaurus reached up to 23 feet long, 6.6 feet tall, and weighed about 881.8 pounds. Impressive for an early Jurassic carnivore. It was the largest predator of its time, earning the nickname the T-Rex of the early Jurassic. Though dangerous, Dilophosaurus couldn't easily take down armored dinosaurs like Solidosaurus or Sarcosaurus unless hunting in pairs or packs. For smaller prey, It was a terrifying hunter. Its long, narrow jaws allowed it to snatch prey quickly. With high speed and agility, it could capture small, nimble dinosaurs like Scutellosaurus. Fossil analysis of Dilophosaurus jaws shows it could eat fish and aquatic creatures when larger prey was scarce, even scavenging carcasses to survive. Coelophysis was a small, bipedal, carnivorous dinosaur living on land. It had a body up to 9.8 feet long, compact, and lightweight due to hollow limb bones. It was one of the earliest known dinosaurs. The name Coelophysis comes from its extremely light bones, thanks to their hollow structure. It lived from the late Triassic to the early Jurassic, about 228 to 200 million years ago, with some estimates suggesting 228.5 to 193.8 million years ago. This reptile was widespread in North America, particularly New Mexico, as well as South Africa and Zimbabwe. Compared to the larger Dilophosaurus of the same period, Coelophysis was much smaller, with maximum length of 9.8 feet, height of about 3.3 feet, and weight of around 66.1 pounds. Its teeth were typical of carnivorous dinosaurs. Thin, curved backward, sharp, with small serrations on both front and back edges. Though a carnivore, Coelophysis's hunting strategy differed from larger Jurassic dinosaurs. Instead of hunting alone, it likely hunted in packs. In the late Triassic and early Jurassic, North American valleys were mostly deserts, but green oases existed on plateaus, mountains, and hills. In these areas, Coelophysis packs hunted by chasing and surrounding prey. Scientists hypothesize they may have used distinct sounds to communicate during hunts, creating a primitive hunting strategy. Coelophysis could collaborate to take down larger herbivorous dinosaurs, but its primary diet included smaller animals, reptiles, and lizards. Coelophysis fossils are often found with small animal remains, indicating they mainly hunted smaller prey. A fascinating event in Coelophysis research history is that for a long time it was thought to be cannibalistic. This stemmed from fossils found at Ghost Ranch, New Mexico, where scientists discovered juvenile Coelophysis remains in the stomach of an adult. However, by the early 2000s, this hypothesis was debunked. Later studies showed the small skeletons were actually Hesperosuchus, a contemporary small reptile. This meant Coelophysis did not eat its own kind, as previously thought, but hunted other small reptiles to survive. Ghost Ranch is not only a key site for Coelophysis fossils, but also one of the richest areas for prehistoric dinosaur and crocodile fossils. It hosts a giant graveyard with numerous Coelophysis skeletons, prompting scientists to wonder, what happened here? Though the exact cause remains unclear, some hypothesize a natural disaster like a flood or drought may have killed entire Coelophysis packs, burying their remains together over time. Another notable small dinosaur of the early Jurassic was Lesothosaurus, named after Lesotho, Africa, where its first fossils were found. Lesothosaurus lived about 199 to 193 million years ago and was one of the smallest dinosaurs of its time. It had a body up to 6.6 feet long, maximum estimate, with heights ranging from 15.7 inches to over 3.3 feet and weights from 6.6 to 22 pounds. This variation is typical, as we're discussing an entire genus, not a specific species. Lesothosaurus moved on two strong, long legs, allowing it to reach impressive speeds. Its five-fingered forelimbs, though small, were well-developed, resembling a miniature human hand. Like a human pinky, Its fifth finger was less developed. These forelimbs allowed Allosaurus to grasp and hold the plants it ate. Its diamond-shaped teeth lined its jaws, with 12 pointed teeth at the front of the upper jaw, resembling arrowheads. This light, delicate structure was unsuitable for crushing hard food, but ideal for cutting soft stems or leaves. Its body was elongated, with a long, slender tail that helped maintain balance during rapid movement. Overall, with a short skull and an elongated body, Allosaurus resembled a bipedal lizard running across the ground, a trait some modern reptiles still exhibit. As a highly agile creature, it fled at the first sign of danger. Did it have enemies? Yes, at least predators like Coelophysis. With its long, agile legs, Coelophysis could easily catch Allosaurus. Lacking sharp claws, armor, or fangs, Allosaurus was an ideal prey for Coelophysis. Another intriguing small dinosaur was Heterodontosaurus. Its unique traits puzzled paleontologists. The species name, from Latin, means wolf face, derived from the sharp canine teeth found in its jaw fossils. Yet, it also had teeth suggesting it was herbivorous. Heterodontosaurus lived around 199 to 196.3 million years ago in what is now South Africa. It had a body up to about 3.9 feet long, with a height of about 19.7 inches and a weight of up to about 22 pounds. It moved on two legs, agile and light, with a long tail for balance. Its well-developed forelimbs could grasp small plants like stems or leaves. Heterodontosaurus's skull was teardrop-shaped, with a hard, beak-like front. Just behind the beak were large, sharp teeth. These canines initially led scientists to believe Heterodontosaurus was related to cynodonts, mammal-like reptiles, but further analysis revealed it was an omnivorous dinosaur, eating both plants and small animals. Its diet included thin stems, tender ferns, horsetails, tough foods like roots and bark, and possibly insects or other small animals when needed. Despite its sharp canines, Heterodontosaurus was not a formidable predator. When attacked, it might bite back, but only speed and camouflage helped it escape threats. Many assume all dinosaurs were enormous, but that's not true. Many were smaller than a human, some even the size of a chicken. For example, Allosaurus was a small dinosaur, roughly the size of a large chicken or turkey. It took over 100 million years for giant herbivorous dinosaurs to emerge. While we met the large carnivore Dilophosaurus, let's visit Laurasia, now China, to meet a massive herbivore. In what is now Yunnan Province, China, during the early Jurassic, about 203 to 168.3 million years ago, lived a large herbivorous dinosaur named after the region, Dinosaurs. It had a body up to about 24 feet long, about 14.1 feet tall, and weighed about 3.3 tons. Much smaller than later giants weighing tens of tons, but large for its time period. Dinosaurs moved primarily on four legs, but could also stand on two legs for short periods to reach high branches or intimidate predators. Its large forelimbs, similar to its hind limbs, ended with impressive claws. At the end of its long neck was a small, elongated head with a unique feature: over 60 spoon-shaped teeth. When closed, these teeth sat closely together, self-sharpening to easily tear leaves apart. This feature was uncommon in primitive dinosaurs like Dinosaurs, but appeared later in giant sauropoda like Brachiosaurus. This is another example of convergent evolution, where unrelated species develop similar traits due to similar environments. If scientists found only Unwind teeth, they might mistake it for a sauropod herbivore. Unwind roamed from one natural grassland to another, not picky about its diet. Its specialized teeth allowed it to pluck leaves from tall trees or eat low ferns and horsetails. Likely living in herds to enhance defense against predators, this behavior is still seen in African savannas today, where buffalo herds sometimes force lions to flee when they resist. By the end of the early Jurassic, Earth began to cool, with some areas covered in ice. However, the ice wasn't strong enough to affect mammals, most of which were fur-covered and lived in burrows. This cooling harmed dinosaurs, who preferred warm climates. Not all survived this cold snap. For example, Coelophysis, a small carnivorous dinosaur, couldn't adapt and gradually disappeared. Many incredible early Jurassic reptiles remain known only through scant fossil fragments surviving millions of years. And so, the story of the Jurassic world and its first dinosaurs comes to a close, leaving us with the echoing sounds of giant footsteps and the breath of a distant era. I hope the mysteries of Dilophosaurus, Unwind, and the prehistoric forests have gently guided you into the land of dreams, where time dissolves like fossils hidden in stone. Thank you for joining me on this wondrous journey. Now, close your eyes. Let the Jurassic winds and the rhythm of ancient earth embrace you, wishing you a deep, restful sleep filled with mystical dreams from millions of years ago. See you in the next nighttime tale.